Hello and welcome to the Crazy Poultrying Podcast. I'm your host Ian Nudger Novak, Gallo Loco. I have too many nicknames. And with me as usual, my always guest, partner in crime and partner in Call of Duty, Nicker's Chicken.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So yeah, as if you saw my quick update video, we have seen now 7 movies that we're going to be talking about here shortly. And because of scheduling conflicts and other stuff, we don't have time to shoot videos. So this is just another quick way for us to tell our thoughts about these 7 movies. But other than that, how you been so far today, Nick?
Pretty busy. I've been traveling around, getting my phone screen fixed and all that fun stuff. Got to go to a really good Mexican place in town, Juanita's. It's really good. So
yeah, free promotion, Juanita's here in Bloomington.
There you go.
If you've not heard of that and you're in Bloomington, check it out.
It's a yellow building. You can't miss it.
I have mostly spent the day watching more Rick and Morty, so...
Oh, that sucks.
That's been pretty nice. So yeah, like I mentioned, we have 7 movies that we're going to try to talk about. Some of them we don't feel like we have to go into a lot of detail. Some we might, just out of our frustration or whatever it might be. So we're going to jump right into it, and let's talk about a movie that we actually both saw separately.
Solo.
We literally saw them Solo, a Star Wars movie. This is coming off of The Last Jedi and also Rogue One, which was the first Star Wars story to be told. I personally, this is the first one that I did not see really a post from you on Facebook that you were watching this. And so I was kind of curious if you had seen it, but I knew that you still were. I want to get what was your feeling on it, because I definitely have mine.
You mean going into it?
Well, I think we can just talk about how we felt afterwards. What did you come out of it with?
Well, I mean, to have the Star Wars name is a huge thing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And, like Disney needs any more money. But this one was difficult for me. It's hard to do. I hate to be, the obvious. It's hard to do a solo movie for anything, because Star Wars is such a big deal, and Han Solo is such an iconic character. It's really hard to live up to any kind of billing, but I don't know. I didn't know a lot about it going into it, and I wasn't really enthused by the trailers too much, but I don't know. It was a story.
And this has been out for so long, we're going to go into spoilers if you've not seen this.
Yeah. Well, basically they go get what's that? Coaxium.
Yeah.
On the planet Kessel for Dryden Vaughn.
Because we know about the Kessel Run.
And at least they did show that, but I don't know. There was a lot of positives, but I think there was quite a few negatives, obviously, and it's obviously getting mixed reviews. It still made money, I mean, obviously.
Not as much as they wanted.
Well, no, but I kind of predicted that, and I predicted the movie wouldn't be fantastic, kind of like the one we saw yesterday. Anyways, positives, obviously. 196-year-old Chewbacca. I love Chewbacca. It did go into detail about how they met, but I'm not sure if that's accurate or not. I love Star Wars, but I didn't read some of the books, but that was pretty cool how they met. Let's see.
What about Lando?
He wasn't in it enough.
Exactly.
And I love
Donald Glover, yeah.
So I wish that he would have been in a lot more, but they did get into a little bit of his, gambling reign and all that stuff. That's a positive, but not enough.
How did you feel about the guy that played Solo? I didn't get much from him.
He was okay. That some people, again, are like up here. Some people are down here. I guess it depends on how much of a Star Wars fan you actually are. If you actually are a true Star Wars fan, you probably should say he was okay. I thought he was borderline okay. I'll tell you a character I loved, and they killed him too quick. The guy with the suction hands, the pilot at the beginning. Remember the
guy that
was voiced
by Jon Favreau.
Yeah, he's freaking awesome. and then they killed him like this, and then they bring in the character that I absolutely hated. Whatever its name was, the lady robot.
Oh,
I hated it.
I
hated it.
And
hate is a strong word. I hated her, and she was just. And then the whole thing with her and Lando kind of freaked me out a little bit. And then her becoming part of the ship.
The thing about that character, I don't really want to specify that it was a her because it was voiced by a woman, but it's a robot. We just have to get that straight.
Calling it She-3PO.
The thing that I was most disappointed with that is that it felt like this was a whole thing trying to capitalize on like the thing that's going on in Hollywood now. Like they're like, our lives matter, our voices matter. I'm like, you do realize that you're robots, and you can get away with telling me that like once, twice. You do it like 7 times and make a giant speech about it. It just felt really overhanded and just got annoying.
I thought what were the tribe of people called? They know that they're.
I don't know. Like,
well, that was weird.
They're easily shown that they're part of the rebellion.
That was really weird. I did enjoy Woody Harrelson. I did like his character. It was weird because I kind of figured he was going to be one of those people that was either going to be good or bad. And he ended up kind of being both towards the end, but he gave me a couple of laughs.
I felt really underwhelmed by Woody Harrelson's performance. I think Ron Howard came in when he redirected the whole damn thing and just made Woody kind of be a little safe with it. There are just also a few stupid things that I'm just going to quickly say, just because I don't want to spend a lot of time on Solo. The reasoning for his name was lazy and stupid. It felt very predictable. I knew pretty much halfway through what was going to happen. And also another gigantic thing is if I'm sitting halfway through the film and I'm like, why am I here? This doesn't feel like it's necessary. Didn't add to Solo, doesn't add to the lore. And you then introduce Darth Maul. Is still alive after being cut in half in the very first episode.
Well, I found out more about that.
I have found out more about it, but to me, it does not belong in the movie series.
That's one of the positives again. Darth Maul's one of my favorite characters. I really enjoyed seeing him, and it showed his new saber, which it actually is true, and then you could hear him, his half of his robotic body, if you really listened to, and I thought that was really cool. And Garen really explained it to me, because he's seen like a lot of the further stuff and
the Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff like that.
And they explain all that, and he explained it to me, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. But I don't know if it needed to be in it, but I mean, obviously they're going to do future stuff with it.
Well, on that note, they're actually putting a lot of those on hold right now. So
I know, which I'm happy about. And then what else? Nice little cameo by Warwick Davis. I did notice that. That was easy to notice. He's been in just about everything, and he played, Ewoks. He's played in Harry Potter, and he's pretty famous, and it was cool to see just an appearance by him.
Well, either way.
And then what's his name was in it too? Bad guy.
Oh, Paul Bettany.
Yep.
I didn't feel like they added a lot to his.
Well, he didn't, but he's still in it. He's still a great actor.
Yeah, just my overall feeling about it was this didn't need to be 2 hours long. It could just been 90 minutes. It's a origin story. You added really nothing to Solo's actual character, and it's called Solo. Needed more of Donald Glover, and just a lot of safe, predictable stuff. And I don't feel like I need to include this in my collection. So
I'll have to get it. It's not really.
I don't feel like I need to.
It's Star Wars. I got to get it regardless. I have the prequels, so I have to get this, and this is definitely better than the prequels. That's sad.
I personally feel like the prequels at least looked better than this.
It might have, but in no way, shape, or form was this even close to the prequels. It was heads and shoulders ahead of them, and that tells you how bad the prequels actually were.
Well, In my opinion, I give Solo a D+.
I give it a C. I'm not, that's about where usually people are with it, about a C. So I think I agree with them.
Okay. And another quick one we saw recently was Action Point, which is no longer in theaters because it was just in there and out. Johnny Knoxville, who starts up an amusement park, but he's actually his older self telling the story to his grandkid about that summer and stuff. Pretty much going into this, I just had a feeling this feels like a Jackass movie attempt, with like a lot of slapstick trying to throw a story in. And I do feel like it does have like a lot of that like action humor and slapstick humor and stuff. But a lot of the best ones were ruined by the trailer. And I just feel like the story was like really recycled, and we've seen it so many times before this, like Animal House and all those great coming of age kind of stories. I mean, I was still entertained by moments, but I just felt like this is just okay. It's a cool time to get away, to laugh at a few things, but there wasn't anything drawing me back to want to either see this again or own it. So that was just my overall take of it.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Jackass, and I knew, Knoxville had recruited Pontius, and then so I figured there's at least two of them in it, and I knew from the trailers it was going to be Jackass-esque. I knew it wasn't going to be actual Jackass, and he got pretty banged up during the making of this, and I do commend him for that. I think he broke ribs. He obviously did his own stunts, which is what I'm trying to say, like he always does, and beats himself up, so I will commend him for that. He gives it 110%. I didn't, I wouldn't say I wasn't invested in the movie as, the hardcore Jackass fans are, but, I mean, it was alright. I got laughed a couple of times, and of course, it was at Knoxville's expense, but I still laughed. But a lot of boring story and just undeveloped characters. I didn't really expect him to be developed, so that's all I really have to say.
Felt like the exact same thing that we've seen a lot of. Nothing really different. But like I said, it wasn't a terrible feeling. I was at the theater watching it, so there's that. I'm gonna give Action Point a C-.
I'm gonna go D+.
Ooh.
Yeah, I wasn't. Actually, that's better than what most are giving it. It's getting reamed. That's probably why it didn't last long in theaters.
Well, didn't have great advertisement either. So now another one that we actually saw as the first part of a double feature one day.
Oh man!
Which was Upgrade. Being brought to you by Blumhouse of all studios. Didn't expect that.
Which is up and down.
Yeah. And written and directed by the same guy that helped create Saw, which wasn't a giant draw for me, but I was like, hey, it looks interesting. And this is definitely a sci-fi thriller. It's not a horror movie. About a guy whose wife is killed. Let's see if we've heard this story before. And then wants revenge on the people that have done it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, John Wick.
Yeah,
we've seen that before.
Punisher.
But this actually had a unique style to it.
Oh, it was really cool.
I think they actually made this like semi-future not like too distant. It actually felt a little bit closer to now, and it had a really good vibe to it. The main guy performance that this happens to, I thought was really good.
Yeah, he's like, what I told you, he's like, what's his name's twin? Your boy.
Yeah. Oh, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy's twin.
Just a little bit less buff.
Well, yeah,
and actually taller.
Like his face.
Yeah, I actually had a really good time with this. It was a solid action. It had good humor when it was because the main thing that happens to him is that he gets paralyzed and he's implanted with an AI. They'll take over his body, but he has to give it permission to. And the great thing is his expression when he's not in control, he's like slapping and punching people. I was like, what the heck? So yeah, I actually had a really good time with this, and some of the acting was really good. Without ruining anything, it has a really ballsy ending. Especially for being sci-fi, I would not have expected anything less than that. I would say the biggest downer for me, as far as with grading this, is I didn't feel too attached to his wife. I felt like there could have been more screen time with her to feel like I cared more. I got a good feeling about Keanu Reeves' wife, and then the connection with the dog in John Wick, even though she was on screen technically much less. But besides that, this is a very unique looking sci-fi movie, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it, other than those few nitpicks. I guess you felt pretty similar.
Yeah, this is probably out of the 7, surprisingly, the one that got the least amount of publicity, because a lot of people didn't even know about it. Like half the people that I work with didn't even know what Upgrade was.
Yeah,
and
I accidentally kept on calling it Update.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't know where the name Upgrade would come from. And then you watch it, and they're in a futuristic car at the beginning, and then they get mugged, and she gets shot, and I'm pretty sure he gets shot in the neck.
Yeah, it's
and then he gets paralyzed, and then obviously he can't move. And then I forget the guy's name, the billionaire, but he offers him the cure, and they call it STEM, STEM, and it reminded me just of like a little cockroach that latches onto your neck, and it literally showed them putting it into his neck, and I don't know, it reminded me, like I said, it was John Wick, Punisher, Terminator, and there was one other one, but it's kind of like a video game too, because there was a video game very similar to this, like a PS3, I think, where you literally, you got hurt and they put something in your body. Maybe they based it off that, I don't know, but it literally gave him superhuman everything, like strength, agility. Like literally when he commanded this thing to turn on, he was a different person. Like he wasn't getting control at all. Like he would stand up straight,
His head was the only thing that was the same.
Well, kinda, I guess, but I feel like that, even if it wanted it to turn his head, it would probably have done it. But there's really funny parts, and there was really cool deaths. I didn't expect that. I expected it to be, a little bit, but then when I saw the knife go in the guy's mouth, and
oh yeah,
I was just like, oh my god.
Let's not try to explain all of it.
I don't know. It excited me all the way through and blew my expectations away, and it's a fantastic movie. I can't wait to buy this when it comes out.
Yeah, I'll definitely be buying this. And yeah, only because of that kind of severe story nitpick for me, it just kind of drops it down to from an A minus to B plus for me.
I'm gonna give it an A-. The whole wife thing didn't really matter to me. I wanted to get a lot from him and the whole story, and I did. So I thought it was great.
Okay. Next one of that day that I don't feel like that we're gonna really talk a whole lot about because I don't want to spoil anything, and that's Hereditary.
What about how mixed people are about it?
I don't. The whole mix thing with the cinema score with this movie is just stupid, and I don't want to talk about that. In fact, I've looked into a lot about what cinema score really is an example of, and it's eh. But this, to me, has been the best horror movie I've seen in the last few years, because it's stylistically shot very well. Just concept is just great as far as storytelling, with the fact that it's about dealing with grief again, which is kind of similar to what The Babadook was, which is another film I really loved. Has tremendous performances, especially from Toni Collette, who should be nominated for this. Like in the last kind of horror-ish film that she was in that she was nominated for was Sixth Sense. But there's just a lot of still shot moments, a lot of holding on that scene, and definitely the thing I would say is always look in the shadows because it's kind of terrifying. It's kind of terrifying.
That's the first time I've ever had chills.
Yeah.
It's been since probably the first Jeepers Creepers, which was like 2000. So it's been since then I actually got chills during the movie. I got goosebumps, and Russell, of course, made fun of me.
I have yet to have been in a theater with my hand over my mouth going than with this, because I love the way that it just went silent and would hold on shots, and there was no jump scares in this, and the twist that happened completely got me, and the fact this is a first time director just floors me, and I want to see more of what he does, and I'm just sad
Seems to be a theme lately.
Yeah. And I just am sad that more people aren't appreciating this, because we want more films like this, especially in this genre.
It's getting its ass whooped by the audience.
Well,
critics are loving it, the audience are not so much.
But regardless, this has now jumped to probably my favorite film of the year so far, and I give this an A.
I wasn't as interested in it right away. But as I started seeing like more previews, when longer stuff and like the unedited previews would come out, I started getting more interested. And I saw that big display they had at the theater, and it looked really cool. And then I talked to Russ a little bit about it. And, he said he was pretty excited to see it. So I was like, all right, it's A24, A24, and I'll definitely have to give it a chance. And I mean, I had to read more into it because actually the trailers don't give a lot away.
Which is nice.
And basically, the matriarch of the family dies, and they start, unraveling cryptic stuff, and it's weird secrets and terrifying secrets, and it gets really freaking awkward, man. I don't even know how I can explain
me, other than the supernatural factor, it felt real, like this would happen.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Gabriel Byrne in the movie. He played the husband. I was a huge fan of his.
Everybody does really good.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like they killed off somebody too quickly, but maybe they had to.
That just added to the unpredictability and shock.
It was crazy, man. There was the two parts towards the end that I actually was leaned back in my chair, had my hand over my mouth. And Russell looked over at me and he's like, bro, you alright? Or something like that. And I go, I don't know yet.
Get the fuck away from me.
And I was just like, I saw that thing. I thought I'm not going to go into it. But
nope.
I just saw something. And I was like, okay, well, I must be seeing shit. So I did like that part about it. And it was a crazy, you could call it horror, but I think it was more mystery thriller for me. Towards the end, it was horror.
Yeah.
I'll give it that. So it's kind of like all three combined into one, which is awesome. And this is the third movie in a row the first time director knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Could I guess what
I forgot you rated it. It's probably like borderline top 3, if not top 3. It's definitely not the top, but I'd probably give it an A-.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely top 5, might be top 3.
Now on to a sequel we had been waiting 14 years for, and that's Incredibles 2. I think I can safely say for this small panel right here that we loved the first Incredibles, and it was easily one of the best superhero movies, and you could actually make the argument that this is actually the best Fantastic Four movie that had ever been made. But so we wait 14 years. I don't know if we did, but we sat through 2 car sequels.
I didn't.
Well, I'm just as a general audience. Okay. Before we would get this. However, as Brad Bird explained, he didn't want to make this if he didn't feel like that it could stack up with the first or be possibly better. So he wanted to hone everything right. And in that regard, I'm perfectly fine with now I've waited 14 years. Because I was really impressed with this. It starts off literally like right where the first one ended with the villain Digger or whatever coming out of the ground and then fighting him. And it just goes on to be like that this company wants to use Elastigirl to make it so that it's possible to make heroes illegal again. And
I just think it was cool that they reversed dynamics, that they actually had Elastigirl go out and do the heavy lifting and have, Mr. Incredible actually have to stay home and take care of the kid. Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Well, and I mean, some people were kind of like, oh, so it's just another role reversal movie. Okay, yes, it is, but if you do it well and it's well written, it can be really good. And in fact, when Mr. Incredible is at the house, that's probably my favorite stuff, because the comedy there with Jack and him discovering his powers is just incredible. Yeah, incredible. The animation is still crisp and looks great from Pixar. Story and the character development with this family is still really well done and fleshed out. All the voice actors came back, which they sound just as better as they ever have. And it kind of shows with the Mr. Incredible part is that, yeah, there are this superheroes that are doing this in the world, but being a parent is a hero amongst itself. So that's why I really applaud this.
Especially with 3 freaking kids.
3 kids, and one of them is a what the heck. I would say as far as with the downside of this is a tiny bit, is I felt the villain was really easy to figure out.
That's Screenslaver, baby.
Screenslaver, yeah.
That's a pretty cool name. I love that name.
It was okay. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite to me. But I kind of started to get a feeling about who the real villain was pretty
I thought it was
early.
one of 2 people.
I had a genuine feeling about who it was. And I was not wrong. So I didn't feel like they did that part as well as in the first one. I really liked the villain in the first one. And the motivation was, I think, a little bit better in the first one. But regardless, this movie has been breaking records for animated films now. It topped Finding Dory for biggest gross ever for an animated film. So there's definitely nothing to say that this was not as successful. I'm just now hoping that it does take 14 years if they want to make a third one. However, if they do, it might be incredible still. So, in that regard.
I think they should stop where they're...
Yeah, they should.
They're good.
But it has made a lot of money, so... So that one little notch against it to me just brings it down just a little bit from the first one. And since I have not been on record saying this, I give the first one an A. So I'm going to give Incredibles 2 an A-.
Yeah, like you said, in this amount of time, it's been 14 years since the first one, which is way goddamn too long. All the voices came back. I feel like Frozone wasn't as much of an impact in this one as he was the first one, which was kind of sad. That is a drop back for me because I love Frozone. Jack was by far my favorite in the movie. Didn't even have to say anything. It was just actions and its fight with a certain animal, which was probably my favorite part of the movie. He found out all his powers, which are like 14 or 15, I think they said.
I still don't think we know all of them.
Which he's probably going to have more. The interactions with him and, what's the lady's name? The scientist lady.
Crap. Yeah, why am I forgetting
Anyways,
her?
you know what I'm talking about. But
the one who makes all their suits.
It was freaking awesome. Her research, she's like, well, maybe I will take care of him. But, the whole family was great. The villain was alright. Kind of creepy at times, actually. With all the strobe light crap going on. And anyways.
Try not to have epilepsy.
Story was really good. I'm glad they took their time to do this. It's, I think, the best sequel, like they've said, since Toy Story 3, and I have to agree with them. I still think, though, that it doesn't quite live up to the original. And I'm talking like about the slightest of edges. Mm-hmm. Okay? But I was really impressed with it, and I'm really happy with it. And I really don't have any complaints other than it being, not quite as good as the first. But I gave the first an A, and I'll give this one an A-.
Okay. Now on to what I think is pretty short for us to talk about, which was a really small comedy called Tag, which was based on a true story. Apparently, I had trouble figuring this out, how it was based on. A group of guys that play the game of tag for 30 years to basically stay connected. And the story is them going to Jeremy Renner's character, who's getting married, who they are told that is retiring after this, who has never been tagged, and they want to tag him in this session. My really short summary of this, I was actually really intrigued to see this. I thought it looked like it could be really funny. The whole based on a story was the only thing that was kind of like, okay, is this true? But the proper thing to do was it was based, and I thought all the cast members had really good chemistry with each other. This has easily been Jeremy Renner at his most badass, even being Hawkeye, which is kind of sad. I just thought there was a lot of good laughs in it. The part that kind of gets to me is with it being on a true story. Again, what are the twists and turns that was Hollywood made, which were a revelation made at the end, a few side characters that are then put in there. The biggest one that I feel like I can address, because it's not a spoiler, Hannibal's character, who I thought steals the show for me. He felt like the audience character too. Says that he's going through like problems with his wife or girlfriend or whatever, and it's never addressed again. That was the only thing I kind of wanted a little bit more addressed. But other than that, I still had a great time. It was just hilarious. That's all I really wanted out of this. But it's not a solid, gigantic comedy for the year, so I'm going to give it a B.
Yeah, I was really intrigued actually going into it. I knew I wanted to see it right away. So when I first saw the first trailer, just because, I saw it and I was like, okay, it's a game of tag. It's not really a big deal. And then I saw it's a true story. So I was like, whoa, that just knocks it up like 10 notches. But I really enjoyed the cast. My favorite character is actually played by Jake Johnson. He was a pothead.
Crap.
But he's by far my favorite character. And I love him in anything, except for Mummy. That doesn't.
There's actually two people from Mummy in this.
Yes, but anyways, and he actually is in the upcoming Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
He plays Spider-Man himself in the animated. I just wanted to throw that out there.
One of.
But yeah, I thought John Hamm was funny. Ed Helms was funny. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Renner was of course the badass, which he probably should have been out of all of them. Man, I laughed so hard at some of the parts in this movie. I didn't think I was going to. I thought it was just going to be pretty straightforward, but man, it got me. And Hannibal was great. What's it? Annabelle Wallis, is that the blonde girl's name? She felt kind of thrown in to me.
There was just a few characters that felt like they were thrown in for me.
But that's really not a big thing, big drawback. I enjoyed myself.
At least she didn't tamper with the film.
Yeah, not at all. And it was pretty cool. Like, you thought one thing was going to happen, and actually something else happened. I mean, that couldn't really predict a lot. Mm-hmm. You thought it would be predictable because it's a game of tag, for God's sakes. And then some things happen, and you're like, oh my God, they faked that? Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I will give the movie a B, and I probably will be getting this too.
Yeah, me too. So now on to
Christ.
The movie that we just saw last night, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So, just going to get this out of there. We love the first Jurassic Park.
Oh,
we may have different viewings about the sequels up until this one, which we will get into a later video about how we feel about them. So let's just talk about Fallen Kingdom, which is coming off is a sequel to Jurassic World.
3 years after.
My brief thing about Jurassic World, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It was serviceable, but it didn't really elevate anything with the Jurassic Park. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom feels like a giant step back.
It was a load of shit.
Okay, yeah, let's go there. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters, again, they're the exact same. They're not together and then they have a kiss towards the end, and then they're not together. I'm just going to get that out there. So if you've seen The Lost World, you've kind of seen the basic plot of this, which is we're going to take the dinosaurs off of this island that has a volcano that's going to erupt and kill all of them, and it's a big controversy whether we should or shouldn't.
Was it Isla Nublar?
Isla Nublar, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Now, a little bit of thing is that there's also another island that they could just put them on, if you know the continuity, that doesn't have a volcano, which would have been way easier. But that aside, but to me, easily, Jeff Goldblum comes in and tells you right off the bat who everybody in this Jurassic World that is a Jurassic Park fan, these are dinosaurs. Should we really save them? This is nature correcting our mistake. But of course, Pratt and Bryce want to save the creatures, so they go to help save them, and then they're going to get auctioned off to warmongers. I got just so bored in this because I've seen this so many times. And there were so many pandering callbacks to the originals that just really frustrated me. Annoying characters galore in this.
Throw in.
Didn't need it.
It's supposed to be comedy relief.
And they throw in this gigantic, just out of nowhere thing at the end about one of these side characters that we don't know much about. That completely is mind-boggling why they threw it in there. And then the ending just is to set up for the third one. And in fact, the director has kind of said that it was written so to set up a third one.
God damn it. I'm not going to sit through that 2 hours again.
And somebody just brought this up today that I found out. You realize that now, after 2 technical Jurassic World titled movies, we are technically now in Jurassic World. Because in Jurassic World, it was still Jurassic Park. I did not like this movie. It's going to be on my worst list. I didn't feel like any characters were developed or they were just thrown in there. I give this a D-. What do you have to say? And kind of keep it concise.
I'll pass.
Felt the exact same? Or were you even angrier?
I don't really remember too much of the movie because I was pretty much in a zone to where before going in, I told him I was going to hate it, and I wasn't wrong. Way too many thrown in characters. The Franklin dude, I wanted to die the whole time. I swear to God, he was supposed to be comic relief, but he was annoying relief.
Yep.
I wanted to I don't know. I feel bad saying that he's only 20 or whatever, but whatever. His character, how about that? And then
we're not dissing any of the actual people.
The way they, I don't know. I'm not going to go into that, but the way they had the treatment for James Cromwell, I did not like at all.
No.
They put, I love Toby Jones. Okay, they put fake teeth in his mouth, and then when he was doing that auction, you could tell it was fake teeth because he was like, and the next dinosaur is, and I was like...
Well, just to give a few listeners on who he is, what are some movies that he's been in? Which I know he was in...
He's in Civil War. He's actually been in a lot of shows.
Yeah.
He was in Under the Dome. He's good in pretty much whatever he's been in. He's always played some kind of scientist, and he's always good, Very informative, he has good research and all that stuff, but it's just, I don't know, he was a throw-in, again. Yeah. He did have a funny part, though.
Yeah, there were 3 moments that I laughed out loud.
There's a pinball part that I really enjoyed, and my favorite dinosaur was the hammerhead.
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it. And that's what I called it because, he used his head with everything. But
that also seemed very convenient.
Yeah.
Just thrown in there.
I really disliked the 2, I guess you can call them main bad guys, the Wheatley guy and then Eli.
I couldn't get too angry at them because they are villains that I've seen millions and millions of times. It's all about money.
Let's just say genuinely thrilling moments were in short supply in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I was just sitting there like this the whole time. And the biggest crack up I got the whole thing is that somebody sounded like they broke their neck in the movie. Probably from sleeping or something.
Yeah.
But
actually leaned over to me and was like, what was that? I was like, I don't know.
But, basically, I don't know. It was just like, okay, there's like 11 new species of dinosaurs, and then one of them was genetically enhanced. Mixture of 2 dinosaurs, the most destructive dinosaurs ever, and they called it the Indoraptor.
Yeah. Which it just looked like the previous one.
Which is actually, I don't know, it's cool, whatever. But it literally took an army, and as it probably should have, and then there was Blue.
The only thing I actually kind of cared for.
Yeah, and I love Blue, always have, in both movies.
But then again, I'm telling myself I'm caring about a raptor.
It was probably my favorite character in the movie. So there you go. That's how I felt about it. It was absolute shit, and this will probably be the only one I don't buy, because this is probably the only one I don't have.
This has actually made me question if I want to keep Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm only going to want to keep Jurassic Park.
Which
I don't know
is
the other
by
ones.
far superior.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. So after all this shit talking, what are you going to give it? You actually going to go down to F?
You have a coin?
No, not on me. He's going to throw a coaster.
I'll give it a D-, just because it landed on heads. It probably should have been an F, because it was absolutely... I felt like it took 3 years for them to make this, and it felt like it was thrown together within less than a year.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Disaster. The trailer made it look like a disaster.
The trailer ruins everything.
And I thought it was going to be terrible, and it was. So this will be my worst right now. It's my second worst of the year.
I have to go back to think about what is actually my worst so far. So
You want me to tell you what mine is so far?
Sure.
What is it called? Hang on, we saw it. What's it? It's based on the book. Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, Wrinkle in Time?
Yes, Wrinkle in Time is my worst.
I at least could have fun with Wrinkle in Time.
No.
I can't have fun with this.
No, Wrinkle in Time is my worst so far. So that is.
Okay.
I forgot. The book was good. So there you go. I forgot what it was called. Anyways.
So yeah, guys, those have been 7 movies. We started off pretty then went pretty actually awesome, and then ended with shit.
And there is one I will talk about future movies, but there is one out right now that's not in our theaters. Mm-hmm. Won't You Be My Neighbor, which I really want to see, has like a 99 on Rotten. And, of course, it's not going to come to our theaters because it's select, and it'll be in big cities. Oh. Thank you. So we'll miss out on that, but we do have some coming up that I'm, excited for. Ant-Man and the Wasp, definitely. Sicario's questionable. Uncle Drew, I don't know. I really am excited for, Black Klansman.
Because Jordan Peele.
Oh, yeah. And then one of my favorite actors is in it, too. So... And then there's Hotel Transylvania 3. We got a lot of stuff coming out. Ian's got a surprisingly big August too. So,
that being the month of my birthday. Really quick here, plug where they can find you.
Oh well, I'll go Facebook. Nick Wood, Facebook. Nickers_chicken87 on Instagram, and Nickers Chicken on Twitter.
And you can find me at GuyoLoco89 on Twitter, Ian Novak on Facebook. And if you want to see my quick reactions, it's Crazy Rooster on Stardust. This has been fun regardless, even though it was a very mixed bag. I already feel like 2018 is going to be a little bit worse than last year.
Yeah, I got quite a bit of my worst and okay list, so
yeah, guys, till then, keep going to the movies, especially the good ones, and see you later.
And get the A list. See you guys.
Yeah.